Here. Today we're going to talk about oxygen therapies, specifically exercise with oxygen therapy, and how this might be something that you want to consider as you are trying to figure out how to have your very best health. Okay, so what is exercise with oxygen therapy? Well, basically, boom, here's a picture of it, right? So you see this big black thing behind this guy, bum, bum, bum. That is actually a big old bag of oxygen. So right down here in the bottom, you see that's probably an oxygen concentrator that's feeding into the bag. And then he is exercising for a short period of time, like, maybe 15 minutes, while he's breathing high concentration of oxygen. And so this is very interesting. And so the question is, how can this help you? And could it be something worth having? It's like you got to get the big old balloon in your house, right? So you need to find a place where the big balloon will fit. And do you need to ride a bike? No, you can do calisthenics. You just have to do something. You need to do oxygen while you're using the high concentration of oxygen, because that makes it safe, because you're generating CO2 from the exercise, and that's an essential part of it, right? So we don't want to just go breathe in high oxygen. That's that's really important. Okay, because high oxygen on its own may not be super good for you. All right, it can cause blindness and stuff like that. Okay, so back to the idea of exercise with oxygen therapy. What can it do for you, and how can you capitalize on improving oxygenation to the tissues, and to your brain, to help with long-term cognition, fitness, improve your fitness level. And really, the research on this is, there's quite a bit of research showing improvement in peak performance with this exercise with oxygen therapy, right? And looking at both the exercise performance as well as the improvement in like things like VO2 max, peak workload, incremental exercise time. There's good evidence saying that this is worth considering. You want to do it in conjunction with somebody who understands about this, but know that there are systems that you can purchase out there that they're not super expensive, and it might be worth looking into. When you think about, if you're going to get something like this, you want to make sure of a few things. First off, the bag that you're going to be breathing out of, it has to be clear that it is medical grade. You just can't go buy a plastic bag, because then you're going to be breathing in VOCs, right? So DIY, I don't know about DIY for this, but you need a medical grade, FDA compliant for use with oxygen. Okay, it has to be inert, the lining of the bag, so it won't off gas. You want to make sure that there's no BPA, right? No phthalates, no smell, no PCV, or any of those acronyms that will kill us slowly. All right. And then you want to make sure that that it is inspected for quality before you purchase it. And when you look at the system itself, I mean, one thing that I think is that you notice about this picture here is that the way this is going straight in, you want there to be a low resistance. So you want it to be able to, as you breathe in, there to be no resistance. So you not feel like you're sucking through a straw or anything like that. You should be able to breathe really easily. And then also, what happens is when you breathe it in, you actually breathe it, the exhale doesn't go back into the system, it goes out. So in theory, the system should stay clean all the time. So you're just sucking in the air and it's blowing out. And like short 15-minute session of this is equivalent to the effect of hours and hours of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Isn't that interesting? So, hyperbaric oxygen therapy also something that needs to be done in conjunction with a provider that can help you, but understanding that you can get the benefit of that in pretty safe way at home, making sure that you get a system that is acceptable and has like all those specifications that you want to make sure the bag is not off gassing. Some of these will come with an oxygen concentrator, and so that's what's used to fill the bag. It's just an oxygen concentrator. Most of them have the 10 liter per minute to fill up the bag. And so you'll connect the oxygen concentrator to the bag. If you have a 5 liter per minute oxygen concentrator, it's going to take like 3 hours to fill these bags, right? Maybe more. And then if it's a 10 liter per minute oxygen concentrator, it'll be twice as fast, right? So, I mean, they have different size bags, right? Some people might be doing this in a club. And if you're doing it in a club, um, everybody should have their own mask, right? So that you'd put your own mask on, and the hoses coming to you would be giving you clean oxygen because it's not hitting anybody before. And then the masks should be separate for every person. You don't want to share masks, right? Especially not these days. So this is just one component of your workout. This would be like 3 days a week, 15 minutes max per session. You wouldn't do it any more than that. You only have to do light to moderate steady exercise, keep a steady pace. And then maybe you'd have like a little sprint, like go a little faster every few minutes. But then you want to try and make sure you have your heart rate above like 110, something like that. So not super intense. This is a moderate pace. And your perceived level of exertion is really what matters, right? You want to have a moderate level of exertion. And now, if you are a person who uh, uses, you can't use like a CPAP machine to do anything like this. So don't be trying to use your CPAP machine to create exercise with oxygen therapy. And people are looking at this to see whether or not it will help us improve neurodegenerative conditions. Certainly, as we get older, we lose muscle mass, and anything we can do to more efficiently exercise that preserves muscle mass and helps us get more oxygen to the body, to the brain, is going to help us in the long run. And so, as we're thinking about how can we change our stars, change what's happening in our body, recognize we're still wanting to ask those big questions like, is this moment nourishing us? Is it taking us forward, moving us forward? Are we feeling rejuvenated and cleansed? And remembering that we're using those really sound basics of functional medicine, stress reduction. Breathe with me, okay? Take some breaths. Joyful movement. You really want to infuse it with a sense of joy, right? And know that this doesn't have to be going to the gym. It could be jumping up and down on your bed. Don't break the bed, though. We want to continue to eat the beautiful rainbow and as clean as possible eating, because the micronutrients in these different foods that you see, it's like they're color coded, and that's why you want to get the whole rainbow, because that allows you to get all the different nutrients that you need. And if you're thinking like this, we're not thinking about um, minimizing, we're not thinking about trying to like lack. We're thinking about more of the good stuff, more of the good sleep, right? So important. More of the joy, of the laughter. And these are the ways that we're going to really optimize our health. Understand the power. Your mind is so powerful. You can create a new reality. Even if you've not felt great for a long time, it's possible for you. So I leave you with this, and maybe exercise with oxygen therapy is something to think about. Maybe you're just going to think about standing up straighter today and being in the moment. And all of those things are essential, getting your good hydration in, and know that every little bit of progress adds up to huge results, okay? Over time, it compounds. And you guys can do this. I'm way proud of you, and I look forward to seeing